Hi, and welcome to the HR Link, where we have people-first conversations that centre around the humans inside your business. I'm Amy from Grounded HR, and my superpower lies in my ability to zero in on the individual to bring out their unique strengths, whilst helping values-led Australian businesses lead their teams with confidence and care. Here you'll find simple, people-first HR conversations and tips to take the stress out of managing your team and put the humans at the centre of everything. So let's jump in. Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I want to talk about policies. Now, policies are not something that we all love. And if your policies are sitting in a corner gathering dust somewhere, you're probably not alone. Most small businesses actually struggle to make policies that actually mean something within their organisation. But today I want to talk about how we might make them a little less overwhelming and make them so that they actually fit our organisation. I know I've worked in the corporate world and the policies were endless. They were also quite often way too long for what they needed to be. And I really want to change the thinking around how policies are viewed. Overwhelming people with complex information using words that they don't understand and putting them into a document that makes them really overwhelmed and maybe just sign it off without actually reading it, that's not the purpose. We don't want policies to weigh people down. We really want them to mean something within the business. So how can we make them better? I guess we've got to rewind it all the way back to why we even have them. So in an organisation, I bang on all the time about how important our values, mission, and vision for the business are. Our policies should reflect those things. Our policies should be built on sending a very clear message about what your organisation is about. So we really want it to create the future culture of the organisation that we desire. Now, some organisations are super lucky that they already have the culture that they want to develop. Others, it's a journey. You can't change culture really quickly. You need to stay steadfast to a vision and really make tiny steps along the way. Some of those tiny steps might be putting some policies in place that really communicate your boundaries, really communicate your expectations, and feel like your organisation. The other side of why we have policies always comes back to compliance. Now, there are many pieces of legislation that a business needs to comply with. We might be talking about Fair Work. We might be talking about the awards, the National Employment Standards. We might be talking about OH&S and work health and safety and all of those kind of things. And in that space, we're also talking about not just physical safety, but psychological safety in the organisation. So there are many pieces to the compliance puzzle, and policies add to that. So policies provide your view on how we do those things. So it's really important that we do it in a really clear, concise, and easy way. Those who have some policies in place, I commend you, because so many small businesses don't actually have any. And I also want to encourage those who don't have any yet to just start. There are absolutely ways and means of getting help with these things. You might have an industry association who can assist you. You might have some kind of support program that is industry specific for you. You might have colleagues and friends who run similar businesses who might be able to help you out. There are also HR consultants like us that can also assist in this process. Templates are great. They're a great starting point, but no template can literally just be implemented within an organisation. You need to tailor it and make it sound like you. Yes, I do draft templates for my clients, but they always have to put their spin on it. They take my words and they make them mean something for them. So how do you do that? I want to give you 3 really basic steps. Start first with the compliance piece. Focus on what's essential for putting in there. We all have an obligation to provide a workplace free of anti-discrimination and bullying. So maybe start there. The compliance is very clear around what we need to do and how we need to do it. So start in that place. Start with something that feels easy and you don't have to think as hard about it. I really want you to use plain language. Now, there are so many different ways that you could word things, say things, and articulate them. But what's really important is to think about the end user. Who is the person that's going to be reading it? How are they going to interpret it? Under what lens are they going to interpret it? And how can we word it so that they understand it first time and that we don't have to provide additional explanation? One of the other points of why we do policies is so that we don't have to repeat ourselves. Policies stipulate our expectations, they stipulate our procedures and all of those kind of things. So it's really important that we use language that it can be understood. So again, that we're not having to repeat ourselves. A third practical tip I've got for you today is to make sure that you're reinforcing these policies. It is not okay to just look at them once. Yes, we need to do them as part of the onboarding process. We need to make sure that they are read and understood and embedded in new people that we bring into our organization. But there's also two other parts to that. We also need to make sure that we are redoing those policies and reviewing them. So most policies, I would recommend reviewing those about every 2 years. That is for compliance, making sure that we're still meeting the legislation if there's been any changes. The other part is to make sure that it's still really applicable to how we work. Now, a true and great example of that is COVID. We all altered all our policies and procedures to meet the requirements of what was happening during COVID. But does that really apply still now? And it will depend on how you worded your policies at the time. Do we still do those things? Have you still got COVID terms and conditions attached to your proposals or those kinds of things? It might be a really good idea to think about all the places that you put COVID policies when we were in the height of the pandemic and look at whether they actually apply now. Now, the piece to reinforcing these policies is your leadership team. Your leadership team need to be enforcing them. They need to be living them. They need to know what they are. Because if they're not doing them, then why should your employees? I have implemented policies in so many different types of organizations. And I think that in most cases where a policy is simplified and easy, it sees better buy-in. I really want to encourage you to consult and have conversations with your team when you're rolling out new policies. A lot of the awards actually include a consultation clause, and a lot of the legislation does as well. Consultation involves you having a conversation with your team, why we're implementing a new policy, what it means for them, and asking for their feedback. The best way to build a relationship with your team is to ask their feedback. So I want to assure you today that you do not need a million policies in place all at once. Yes, you can put them into a single document and have them so that they're easily accessible and easily found. But I encourage you to build it up over time. Start with 3 or 4 that you can try and get done before the end of the year or in the first quarter of next year. Whatever it is, set yourself a goal of writing 1 new policy a month if you've got none, or reviewing a policy once a month. Now, if you want assistance with this, obviously we can help you out. We can assist you to build a policy and procedure manual. We can also assist you to do individual policies that you might need along the way. We also have a heap of these policies and procedures and things inside the HR link. If you're looking for assistance in that space, then we would love to work with you and your team to make sure that the policies and procedures you have in place are really reflective of your organisation and of the requirements under compliance. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me today on the HR Link. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you hit subscribe or follow so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. We always aim to help you lead your team with confidence and care. And if you're ready to take the next step, I encourage you to explore the HR Link. It's your HR partner in your pocket. We provide practical, people-first support to Aussie Australian businesses. You'll find the link below. But up until next time, keep leading with clarity, care and confidence, and we'll see you then.